Okay. Good evening, everybody. I hope you all are well. And let's begin with supplication to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, first of all. Nazinam Darjinu Rupe, Taji Jujina Jubayi, Sangi Jodangi do Papeso, Kuna Jose, Daja Tashisho, de make a president to Rogo, Chabay Bagado. Kuna Gumbaja Baja, Lumbudra Bazara Bedani, Simjedam Jelagum to Pepe, Ism the Bazar of Tabo. Since the Betashi Pepe, they worship by Gala Chazalo, Jambejano, Palento Jizi, Cheres, Wangumbuja Pepe, saying you put about. Namgenibo, Pajo Gunduzang, Ubeduji, Pegaloji now, Nubuda Wadidi. Chazelenum Taji Pegijo, Chanju Sempagala, Chazalo, Rinjin the Jotaji Sirkinia, Dujo Buzayung. Yinadunda, Punzo, Baby, Minu Gaze, Winjerokolote, Rinjin the Joji Chadaje, Juduja Wachijing. Gizong, Udimbe, Pepe, Trashi, Lamugala, Chazalo, Sambajim Buddhijungs. McDonald Yabu Yugozon, Payebadan, Luame Mizan, Namdes Zella Secolodan, Tissue Ladan. Beyond the Shitting Zenze, Sasumnes Ogalek, the Jipe, Chidink Wangela, Chasalo, Dajating the Richawazumba. La Gedanya, Warsawa, Kunjini, the Tempepe, some Asian troop, Tashi Dele, Pusum Sobarsho, Dajating the Richawaz. Gedanya Warsawa, Kunjini, the Tempepe, some Asian troop. Tashi dele pusum sobarsho, dajating the Richawat. Gedanya Warsawa Gunjine, the Pepe, some to Asian to Tashi dele pusum sobarasho. Jumnende Paragumbo Jizun Jabe Yanacha Salo, Kongilo to the meeting in Yadam da Reserve, Chingy to go, Chizin Zijin to go. Condazabezar Mode, Mundunga Gizabe to Zoguna, Puji, as a Yunada, and song to the Jeronio Monuro, the children. Marimose de Gorenu, Josera to Nam, Denis, the Jesuit, Indonesia, Yosetebeku, Chidaj. Dalumusi, Jampari young lady, Marabzanadi, Marabzanadi, Marabzanadi. Marabzanadi, Marabzanadi, Marpanadi, 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 Marpanadi. Marabzanadi, Marpanadi, 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 Marabzanadi, Marpanadi, Marpanadi. Marapazanadi, Marapazanadi, Marapazanadi. Marapazanadi, Marapanadi, 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 Marapanadi. Marapazanadi, Marapazanadi, Marapazanadi. Marapazanadi, Kurgum de Jaji Shingipa, Ubetana, Sherab, Lepanzi Major Mejugu, Gumbo Jabe, Yana Chazate, Conzetta Vardabam, Josette. Gumbo Jimiti, Keme Payanton Warshu, Palen Sabella, Rimpoche, Dagaja were permit. Cutting Chimbegune, Jizung de, Gozon Tuking or Drupsal to So today, according to the Tibetan astrology, we are almost coming to the end of the year. According to the Western calendar, December is the last month, and January begins the new year. According to the Tibetan calendar, this is the 12th month, like December, so to speak. Of course, it's not December, but it's the 12th month. And so almost a year's gone by, and we've gone through a lot in some ways. And to some, it's been a year that we got a lot of time to focus to a Dhamma practice, which is very fortunate. And then there are those who are in this world who are not in the Dharma. They have no support spiritually, or very limited support spiritually. And they went through a lot of hardships and a lot of difficulties. And it's been a difficult year. in general for many people, whether in terms of physical or emotional, mental level, a very typical year. And for Dharma practitioner, it's been definitely it's not been easy on the physical level. You can't easily meet your Dharma friends, can't come to the center. All those precaution, quarantine sort of, restrictions, and not able to meet was difficult because we all human beings are social animal. We need each other's love and support. And when we couldn't see each other, meet each other, it's a difficult situation. But at the same time, it gives the message to us that samsara, being born in samsara, we come alone in this world, and even we think we are born from our parents, and we have our brothers, sisters, siblings, and relatives, and friends, and society that we live in feels very connected and solid. But at the same time, when you really look deeper, they're like kind of withering away. There's no really, like when you look, that there is no really solid ground, in other words. That we believe in our mind things are so solid, but in reality, things are quite different. That's not to say that inherently we are bad and inherently we are lonely or inherently we have no positive qualities. That's not at all. If we realize our Buddha nature, then we realize inherently is the pure mandala of the Buddha field. Our mind is the center of the mandala. Like wherever you are, you do things, whether it's good and bad, whatever the actions and thoughts which you emanate, you're the center of the world. And not realizing our enlightened awareness, then we fall into the world of ego, world of ignorance. And that's where we feel loneliness. That's where we feel despair. That's where we feel helpless, complete helpless. It's like when there's situation like pandemic, a difficult situation happening in our life, such as our parents dies, our children dies, our friends we lose, then we feel helpless in this world. We get sick, we feel helpless. And when we see we're going to die, we feel helpless. And that's the nature of samsara. Samsara means the experience that which comes from the birth of ignorance and ego. And everything connected in that mind state of ignorance is a problem, one way or another. Or sooner or later, we realize its limitation, whether we learn that easy way or we learn the hard way, but it definitely clearly shows us that nature of samsara is futile, and nature of samsara is pain and suffering. No matter where we are, what powerful we are, how rich we are, how strong we are, doesn't matter the futility is there in the nature of samsara. You can live for a long life, maybe 500 years, but there is an end will come after 500 years. The futility of samsara. Seeing the nature of futility of samsara, historical Buddha, Prince Siddhartha, he felt like a deep sense of renunciation, that engaging in this futile nature, you can't achieve the happiness that we all aspire. We all aspire for happiness. Not anything less than Buddha or Jesus or Bhagavan or whatever. We don't expect a 1 cent less happiness than the past great Mahatmas or enlightened beings or compassionate beings or intelligent person. Even the stupidest of the stupidest person, let's say, or an ant or creature, let's say, insignificant being, which is so tiny, as far as their consciousness, sentient is concerned, they want complete liberation and happiness as much as we all do. It doesn't matter what sex you are, what race you are, what's your preference of lifestyle, doesn't matter. Every being wants happiness and liberation. And that's fundamental to all being. It's like one in, as they say, all for one for all. In the movies, like everyone absolutely equal as far as aspiring for freedom and happiness. Nobody's less, nobody's more. But as much as we want happiness, but we end up with a lot of confusion and a lot of suffering. And when you investigate, how did that happen? That we all aspire happiness and we all aspire freedom, but instead of freedom, we feel like trapped. Instead of happiness, we get despair and helplessness and hopelessness. So then what is the cause? There got to be a cause. It just can't happen without any randomly or universe throwing some kind of shooting star, so to speak, shoot you with the random qualities and shoot someone with like specific quality. It doesn't happen that way when it's the question of the mind or consciousness arises. You're not an immaterial. You're not a material object. You have a consciousness, awareness. So when we investigate, and of course the mankind over the period of time in the universe, we went through a lot of different ideas. Different kinds of religion have come and gone. And one of the earliest religions is shamanism. Believe in stars and moon and sun and water and those bodies. Which still today there are shamanistic tradition, nature worshippers, we can call them. Then there is other religion came, such as Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam. I think earlier there was something called Zoroastrianism or something like that. And there are so many, in fact, we couldn't even count. If there is a book, the book will be filled maybe like 20 miles. The names of so many religions have come and gone. They're all just like different ideas put. So now, then there are periods of time in human history that there has been no religion, not just for like short period of time, but for eons there has been no religion at all. And that's very possible when you look at logically. Ideas can come and ideas can go, including religious ideas. And there would be gap where there would be to believe in, not to believe in anything. When we call atheist or nihilist or different, ideas. And regardless of those different religious ideas and notion, whether one believes in Judaism or Christianity, the present religion in this world, Buddhism or Hinduism or shamanism. But one thing for sure we all are seeking and aspiring, that is freedom and happiness, period. And that's the very reason why people follow different religious tradition or follow no tradition, to discover happiness and liberation. And now, that being the case, since so many ideas and religion have came and gone and evolved in this world, it clearly shows that so many have come and so many have gone and so many have names, those who've come and gone, and ideas comes and go. And what we are really seeking is a freedom and happiness. And so we got to start from the basics, so to speak, like kindergarten level. We have to look, what is the cause? With a very open mind, unbiased mind, what is the cause that how our mind got trapped? And of course, whether to be trapped and to be free is a question of the mind, is a mind experience. To be free is mind, to be trapped is mind. To have experience of ignorance is the mind, to have the experience of being freed from ignorance and wisdom is also the mind. So now, since everything is a question of mind, then we need to study, analyze, investigate the mind. That's crucial, without any saying, without any question. We all can agree on that, Then, that being the case, we have seen different religious traditions have different notion that where it went wrong and then where we are today, cause and effect, so to speak. What went wrong that we did, such as in Christianity, original sin, and I don't know all other tradition, but they all have an idea. As far as Buddhism is concerned, then when Buddha Prince Siddhartha, being a prince and have all the access to the pleasures of life, Buddha realized that these are all conditioned phenomena. Conditioned phenomena by nature, it's by change. As the four pillars of Buddhism, as it explained, all conditioned phenomena is impermanence. All afflictive emotions, the Tibetan word is zakche, means to fall down. If it's affliction, it will fall down, It's not, You cannot count on it. You cannot trust that because it's affliction, and then nature of the affliction is suffering. That's the second pillar of Buddhism. They're all suffering. All afflictions are suffering. And then, of course, you can look deeper, like the gross affliction and subtle affliction. Supposing, for example, if you get angry to a person, there's a cause and effect. The affliction itself has the role of the cause and is the role of the effect, cause and effect. But then if you look at the subtle affliction, because for the gross to manifest, it is to play it, the process is already gone on a much subtle level before it became gross. So from that point of view, the afflictions are tsungden, Tibetan word is tsungden. Tsungden means like comes together. For example, we have the faculties, the faculty of eyes, the faculty of ears, and the 5 faculties. The faculty of eyes is able to perceive objects. We can perceive it's white or red or yellow or green. We can have that perceiving quality, the faculty of eyes. The faculty of ear has the hearing quality, music or some gentle voice or some harsh voice, whatever. The faculty of ears can perceive that. Then the faculty of nose can perceive the smell, faculty of the mouth can perceive the taste, and so forth. Same is emotionally, mentally. When the anger and love cannot come together. They are contradictory qualities. Anger and desire also cannot come together. These are all, therefore, like we call 5 passions. Anger, jealousy, attachment, and envy, and so forth. There are different faculties, and they function differently and perceive things differently, and it creates its own world according to its perception, how the mind emanates those emotions. But so, like each different faculties are different in their character, in their function, but one faculty is common, and that is the body faculties. Like we have the eye faculty, ear faculty, nose faculty, mouth faculty, and the body faculty, tongue faculty, and each one have like specific characteristic and function. But the ear faculty doesn't help the eye faculty, because eye faculty cannot hear. You need the ear faculty. And ear faculty cannot see. You need the eye faculty. So each one has a different function. So one thing in common is the body faculty which perceive all the feeling of, like for example, if you pinch here, or you pinch here, you feel the sensation. Or whether it's joy or whether it's pain, you feel the body faculty feels all of them. Same thing, so we can say the previous one, each faculty is the gross aspect of the faculty, each functions separately. While the overall faculty is the subtle faculty, which covers all of them. Same thing in the mind, that different afflictions have different function and they do not come together. They have their own specific functioning. But one thing in common, they all are pervaded with ignorance. Therefore, you say, Lula, Luwang Chijintu, Timuk. Timuk is ignorance. All affliction is infused with ignorance. So therefore, we can call that subtle, subtle, not working as a cause and effect, but subtle, like they are all pervaded. It's happening, it's simultaneously happening all the time on a subtle level. So that being the case, then when after Buddha achieved enlightenment, his body was the same. He didn't suddenly transform his body, he looked the same, but like now his mind was transformed. Transformed that ignorance, that which was prevailing, was like turn around, so to speak, totally transformed, seeing the true nature. So therefore now, for example, I would like all of you to study the Wheel of Life. You can probably, today you can look on the internet, I'm sure it should be there. In the Wheel of Life, it shows how the origin of samsara, origin of samsara, in the center, there's a pig and a rooster and a snake. And those three things symbolize, pig symbolize ignorance, the rooster symbolize desire, and the snake symbolize aggression, anger. So those are the three qualities function where the samsara, the birth of samsara happens, our experience, including this phenomenal world of right now, a human world, those who are human, seeing the human experience, those who are animals, seeing the animal experience, those who are spirits, seeing the spirit world experience, and each one of them, those who are mammals, live in the ocean, experience of the ocean world, and those who live on the surface, experience the surface world, and those who flies in the sky, experience the sky world. So each one of those, all those different 6 realms and 3 world systems are experienced coming from the impure, those are all impure phenomena, because people are born, mammals are born, creatures are born, and they're born and they decay and they die. So it's impure phenomena. And there is pain, and every one of those goes through pain. Pain of birth, pain of old age, pain of sickness. Perhaps animals don't really feel the old age pain like human beings do. Of course, they may feel like their strength is waning, but they don't have the emotional pain like, oh, I have wrinkles, or like that. I don't think animals really think about that. They probably feel in terms of the strength, physical strength, waning, but not on the emotional level. Oh, I should go to a cosmetic surgery now, Animals, I don't think they think like that. So that's the difference. So humans have more, because more sophisticated, then they're more sophisticated problem too, emotional problem. So it's all comes under this category called impure phenomena, because there's the suffering of birth, suffering of old age, suffering of sickness, and suffering of death. So one goes through a lot more. And of course, other realms go through too, but I think humans are much more complex, so that complexity gives more complex suffering and complex pain. So, then when Buddha, if you look at the history of Buddha tried to, when he saw the big lesson that he learned, that his father was trying to not show him the world, reality of world, the birth, the sick person, the old person, the dying person. When Buddha was, his father tried to cover all those things, show him just everything beautiful. hide him from those realities. Then finally, when Buddha saw a sick person, old person, dying person, then he asked his charioteer, does this happen to everyone? And the charioteer answered, yes, my lord, this happens to everyone. Everyone gets old, everyone gets sick, and everyone dies. Then Buddha really was like in deep contemplation that it's a futile that we do so many, obviously without any questions, we live our life with so much neurosis, isn't it? Let's all look into our own mind. It's true. As I just explained, like the faculty of body covers all rest of the faculty, same thing, the ignorance permeates in all other emotion. Same thing every day when we get up from the very morning and we go to sleep, and then during our dreams, and then we wake up time during our daytime. It's like a cycle, ceaseless, unending cycle of neurotic energy. Constantly, whatever you do is based on your ego, how you like, how you don't like. And based on that, since it's permeated with ignorance, we do a lot of things that, knowingly, unknowingly, intentionally, unintentionally, we do the wrong thing, ends up doing a lot of wrong things too. Therefore, life gets so complex and confusing that we end up, going through the pain and despair, as well as our friends, everyone complimenting on that despair because of ignorance. The real cause is ignorance. Now, therefore, seeing it's not really like a work of a devil or work of a demon from outside, it's really the ignorance. If there's a demon or devil, that ignorance is the devil. Ignorance is the demon. There's no other demon beside that. That's the most dangerous demon. So therefore, Buddha was in search of the truth. Buddha had his teachers, Hindus teachers, who were highly developed, actually, highly progressively developed, all the way to the highest level of shamatha that they have achieved. And then Buddha studied all of those things to the last stage or the last frontier of samsara, really. If you do shamatha meditation, genuinely, you will reach the last frontier of samsara. You will reach that. You will see that. The calm abiding mind. And it brings this presence of your mind to great clarity. However, one thing was still missing, because when we talk about the neurosis, subtle neurosis in particular, the most subtle neurosis means a grasping mind, a clinging mind, a grasping mind. And that clinging mind is so subtle that you may not even realize that you are still grasping and clinging. Such as, for example, in shamatha meditation and in other meditation, when you do meditation, you can have three kinds of experience once your meditation has been developed. One is calm abiding, like smooth like a sea, like calm, no matter what things are happening, it doesn't affect you. And joyful, physically joyful, mind joyful, like you become the coolest person in the universe, something like that. Then there's another experience called bliss. Dewa is the joy, selva, clarity experience. You are highly developed. As I said, you reach the last frontier of samsara. When you reach the last frontier of samsara, that means you are able to work great deal with your emotion and mental affliction and clinging. You are able to work and dissolve great deal of gross affliction. And that's highly skilled, highly developed. But yet, still, when you have that experience of great bliss, so experience, and the third experience is experience of emptiness. Not the non-dual emptiness, but experience of vastness, infinity. But yet there is an attachment to that, subtle grasping to that. So is the grasping, that is the subtle ignorance, primates coming with the bliss, coming with the clarity, coming with the joy. Dewa, Selva, Mitokpa, three experience. Dewa means the joy. It's so joyful, like you don't want to let go. You want to live in that. And it's so clarity, you can read the minds, you can see, you have clear intuition, everything. And that's so wonderful that, there's a grasping to that. And then mitokpa, like emptiness, so to speak, or vastness, infinity, and there's still a grasping to that, subtle grasping. Therefore, grasping is very hard to let go. That's what ignorance is. And then when you further look into the mind, grasping, how does grasping comes into our mind? Mind is by mind, inner essence, mind true nature is clear light. In order for it to be clear and light, it has to be absolutely and utterly natural. If the mind is compromised in any little way, or any other way, or any this way, or any that way, then mind get compromised. That's where the ignorance comes. And that's reason that we always couldn't be in natural awareness when a person is not realized. Even the essence is like that, but not realized because of the poverty mentality. Ignorance is a poverty mentality. Ignorance is not rich mind. Ignorance is a poverty mind. Ignorance makes us crazy to get clinging here and there. And it's just like gone wild. Completely lose your ground. So it's trying to find a ground. We're always trying to find a ground. Who am I? Where am I? This is who I am. Sometimes through aggression, sometimes through desire, sometimes through jealousy, sometimes the different aspects of emotion and mental state. We try to bring our ground. And the more we try to bring it, the more you lose the ground. It's like you are trying to fill yourself, fill the thirst by drinking salt water. The more you drink the salt water, the more thirsty you become. It doesn't quench your thirst. It's similar to that. The more mind needs looking for the ground, the more you grasp and more you search outside. You're missing your home right there. In fact, you don't have to look anywhere out. It's right there. But this is how the ignorance builds up. The creeps through the phenomenal appearance, sight, sound, smell, taste, all the thing. We just try to make things up, as I said, this way or that way, or up or down, doesn't matter. And then that's how you lose your ground. You lose the nowness, which is right in the present state. So Therefore, now what Buddha has to look, he has to look at really a ground. You see, we all try to find a ground. Some say, different religious tradition would say the true ground would be in the heaven, so to speak, but that's imagination. Buddha wasn't satisfied. His mind was so sharp and so clear. He wasn't satisfied with stories or with imagination. He wanted realistic experiences, see the realistic cause. What causes this effect of the mind being constantly, not able to find its ground? And so he wanted a clear picture and clear truth. And then when he realized that the grasping mind, as I just mentioned, then Buddha saw that, he said there's two kinds of ignorance. One is ignorance of not knowing cause and effect, and one is ignorance of not knowing the true nature of reality. And therefore, then the Four Noble Truth teaching, the first teaching he gave, understand suffering. Second Noble Truth, understand the cause of suffering. Third Noble Truth, Buddha said, realize the cessation. And the fourth is the path. Now when we really look into that, there's no stories at all Buddha put in this. Suffering is a reality that we all go through that. It wasn't invented by Buddha. Cause of suffering was also not invented by Buddha. Therefore, it's called Noble Truth. Cause is based on ignorance, and le dang nyongpa means le is karma or deeds, nyongpa is ignorance and affliction. That's what the cause of suffering is. Ignorance and affliction is the cause of suffering. And the third Noble Truth is cessation. By seeing the nature of emptiness, then you transcend, by seeing the truth, you transcend the very cause of that phenomena, the samsaric ground, you transcend that. And the path is by seeing the truth, following the truth, that nature of emptiness, continuing by seeing the awareness, then you transcend this deception, this confused duality, this deception, you transcend that. By seeing the third Noble Truth, cessation. So, it is based on reality. Buddha's teaching is based on reality. Buddha's teaching was not based on faith, begin with. Buddha was very scientific in one way. His son, as Dalai Lama talks about, Buddhism, Buddha was like a scientist. Truly he was. It is based on reality and observation and investigation, no blind faith. Nothing is accepted. In fact, Buddha himself has said, take my teaching, don't take my teaching because I said so. Check it and analyze. And if that makes sense, then take it. That was the lion's roar, the fearless proclamation of Buddha. Buddha was the only teacher among the great religious tradition that who said that don't take because I said so, check it and analyze. Nobody else said that, So that was Buddha's fearless proclamation. And if you analyze the Four Noble Truths, how clear that is. And then furthermore, when you look deeper to the Mahayana Sutras, teaching interdependence and the nature of interdependence, emptiness, and because it's emptiness, therefore it's dependent, all are so clear. And then finally to the Vajrayana teaching and Mahamudra and Dzogchen teaching, directly introducing that awareness, nature, and then progressing the basic goodness. Basic goodness. Clear light. Fundamental goodness of the nature of the mind. And that's what is known as enlightened mind. In fact, the name of the enlightened mind is called Tathagata Garbha. Tathagata Garbha means Tejinit in Tibetan. Means as it is. As it is. It didn't say, like any, like one of those complicated Roman name for medicines. We have those names really like sometimes. What is that? I'm eating that pill, very long names. Just, that's deadness. It's just called deadness. Because how can the truth be a complication? There's no complication in the truth. So therefore, of course, there are different names, Tathagata Garbha, Sugata Garbha, and we, in English, I think we call basic goodness. Basic goodness means devoid of all deceptions, including all dualistic perceptions and deceptions, which is infused with ignorance. So like that, so Buddha's teaching, it is further said that whether Buddhas have come or not, the deadness is always deadness. And that's the truth. That is the reality. Without, putting like all kinds of makeup. No imagination. Just raw and naked in the truth. Because you can only get enlightened with the truth and raw and naked. You can't get enlightened with imaginations and this idea and that idea. And you keep failing those ideas. Because they themselves are always, like going out and this and that. And, it's like putting too many, Tibetan word is called dokur, means like putting feathers. You got a lot of feathers, like so many ideas. You have to see naked. You have to see the rawness. How rawness of ignorance. Rawness, or by removing that ignorance, then what's the raw nature left? You've got to see that. For that you need intelligence. Only human being can do that. You need to study Dharma. You need to introspect the Dharma. You need to meditate on the Dharma. Then once you do these 3 steps, then you will truly see within your mind experience. Really Dharma is the mind. Seeing the true nature of mind is the basic goodness. That you can transcend this whole false perception, false experience, including the neurotic world of human beings, including the neurotic beings of the 6 realms, or all realms, where there is body or no body, the entire phenomena, structure of neurosis you can transcend. So therefore, for that, you need intelligence, and then you need, especially since the nature is basic goodness, that's mean bodhicitta. You cannot have a basic goodness on one side and bodhicitta on another side. They are one. Bodhicitta and basic goodness is one. If it's basic goodness, it's bodhicitta. If it's bodhicitta, it's basic goodness. Therefore, training your mind in the Tonglen practice, the warm-heartedness, to begin with warm-heartedness, begin with, the relative bodhicitta practice first, and then gradually go to the absolute bodhicitta deeper and deeper. We need to combine those two. And one of the way we do is we do through our meditation practice. We are entering to ultimate bodhicitta, ultimate truth. And that you begin with the shamatha meditation. how you do, how you sit properly, how you bring your awareness, bring your mind and your mindfulness, and then awareness, step by step. And Tonglen practice and being awareness. Then you're bringing, Tonglen practice is bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta. Bringing the awareness is ultimate bodhicitta. Something like that you combine and keep your mindfulness during meditation state as well as post-meditation state. Not that post-meditation means when you're talking, eating, walking, getting up in the morning. In fact, if you can do further, like dream yoga, those are like, the dream yoga can only happen if you have a good meditation practice during the daytime. If you don't have awareness, dream yoga will be very hard. To keep that, maintain the subtle awareness is much harder. First you got to work with this gross awareness. So like that. And so now, let's do a sitting practice of meditation. focus to the breath. You need to be mindfulness. Your mind needs to be one, it's called one-pointed concentration, just with the breath. And of course, you will not be able to be with the breath all the time. Your mind will start to waver from that. But don't try to stop your thoughts. No, you go after it. Allow it without rejecting or accepting. Utterly open, just simply with the breath. Okay? Just simply with the breath goes in and out. Just your mind, stay with the breath. And when it wavers, come back to the breath. Don't try to go after the thought. Try to reject it. No, this is special thought. Try to accept it. Then you get trapped. Moment you try to play, go with the mind. So just be present here with the breath. That's it. With utter open and utter ease. Any questions you have? Okay, so I want to say something. I'd like to say that when is the Losar Day? February 12th. Yeah. So February 12th is the first day of the new moon, which is the waning, waxing month, right? Goes a waxing. Until February 12th to like the full moon is the waxing month for the next 15 days, from the first day until the 15th. And that's a very special month. During this month, Buddha performed tremendous, clear light through his wisdom mind, his clear light awareness, tremendous manifestation of miraculous power. It's called the miraculous month. So during this time, everything is very powerful. So if you do your practice, it multiplies into 7 million times. I believe it's equal to the solar lunar eclipse from the first until the full moon. So I would suggest people that, those who are doing Tonglen practice, make more focus to your Tonglen practice during from the 1st to the 15th. In fact, I would really like you to try practicing bodhicitta for the next 15 days, from the 12th February for the next 15 days until the full moon. Please try that. Keep your awareness all the time, your mindfulness, what thoughts come and how do you engage. Don't throw your mind to the ordinary habitual pattern, but really to have discipline, and discipline brings the ethical, and ethical brings bodhicitta, and bodhicitta brings the wisdom of emptiness. So it goes step by step. So therefore, please keep awareness, mindfulness, and those who are doing their ngondro, put more focus to the ngondro. And those who have done the ngondro, I would suggest those who want to do some kind of retreat, do the 7-line prayer practice to Padmasambhava. It's extremely powerful during this time, practice and prayer to Padmasambhava and supplication, and then do meditation afterwards. So from the first until the full moon, and then try to, those who are drinking, try to probably stop drinking for the next 15 days. See how that changes your mind pattern, from alcohol to going beyond alcohol. So, at least try to reduce the amount of intoxication in mind, because intoxication in mind will lead to many negative things, and negative things are the cause of your suffering. So in order to transform yourself, do the Tonglen practice, do 7-line practice, do meditation, and you need to make, we call New Year resolution. So to start the resolution from the first until the next 15 days, please try to engage your mind, bring your mindfulness and your awareness into when you're sitting, when you're talking, and bring more bodhicitta, more warm-heartedness. You will find really a powerful experience. So I suggest all of you do that. Thank you very much. Okay.
The first question is from my mom, Barbara. She asks...
Your mother?
My mother.
Okay.
She asks, how long can you meditate for, Rinpoche? Or how long should you meditate for?
that you do, whatever it is. So generally for beginners, it's good to do not too long meditation, because if you do too long, then at some point the mind will get, blurry, or you may get lost. So the shorter the meditation, more intervals are good. So it get fresh, your mind get fresh. So maybe at the beginning do 15 minutes, and then if you feel comfortable, you can go until like half an hour, or like 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, 15 minutes in the evening, so one can see how it works. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Tara asks, when resting in awareness, sometimes subtle thoughts arise. Can you suggest a method for not judging oneself negatively when we lose the mindfulness?
Mindfulness, mindfulness, we need mindfulness. Without mindfulness, how are we ever going to change? There's no way. So therefore, mindfulness and awareness, mindfulness leads you to awareness. Without mindfulness, you won't be able to get to the primordial awareness. So therefore, and the mindfulness doesn't say that if you have got distracted, let's say your mind got lost, and then suddenly you beat yourself up, oh, this is bad, I've been lost. Then again, you're simply being neurotic, That's not the method, and that's not the teaching, and that's not the way. The way is simply recognize that, oh, I've been distracted. That's it, on the moment, and then it's gone. So, now if you try to connect, oh, I got distracted, oh, this is bad, I shouldn't do this, then you're already creating a complete neurotic trip. You don't want to do that. You got distracted, fine. Moment you recognize it, it dissolve, you let go. You move forward. You shouldn't allow yourself holding back with guilt. That's no good at all. Then you create a negative pattern, neurotic pattern. We are so habituated with the guilt and our think that we don't have solution usually, but here you have a solution. Before you don't have a solution. So therefore, your only choice is guilt. And then you think, oh, I felt guilty, so this should be good. I'm a good person. So now you got a choice finally. You saw that, and then you let go. You don't form a neurotic pattern there.
Rinpoche, James asks, is the first 15 days of the month also a good time to do offering practices such as Nolsang?
Very good. Excellent. Please do that. Yeah. Any practice is powerful during that time. Life-saving, whatever you can do through your body, speech, and mind, 3 doors to benefit being will benefit you. So that's very, very good to do. Yeah. And so, in a way, it's like, even those who are not doing a retreat, but you keep your mindfulness for the next 15 days. See what transformation that brings. Then it will easily carry on from that. That's it? Okay, so let's dedicate the merit. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, thus defeat the neuroses
and
which
negative actions which
are the
enemies.
enemies. From the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death,
from the ocean
Son
of
of
cyclic
cyclic
existence, may all beings be
beings be
liberated.
liberated. Thank you very much. Please always do not part yourself with bodhicitta. When you eat, when you sleep, when you walk, when you talk, always bring bodhicitta. That's the source of the happiness, not our ego mind, not our neurosis mind. Our neurosis mind's got only one job, and that is to give you suffering and pain, nothing else. The source of your happiness comes from bodhicitta. So union of wisdom and compassion, that's why it is so important. Okay, thank you very much.